Now, exporting this as an asset is going to require little preparation on our part. For one, we need to have a directory prepared in our assets directory. So let me show you in the code editor for Google Earth Engine. Here I have a user's Tethys in this case. This will probably be whatever you set up. This is like your home assets directory. We want to set up directories, subdirectories within here that kind of mimic what we were doing in workspaces in the last tutorial, in which they'll be organized by username and then in a boundary directory. So we need to set all of that up, and that takes a little doing. So we'll add a new helper method to our GEE methods, and we'll need to include an import for it as well. Let me add the method first. We'll need to import OS. Let's go down and look at that. So what we're doing here is essentially grabbing all of the asset roots. Okay, these are those base directories I was showing you. So in my case, it's users/Tethys. There can, I suppose, be multiple of these, but I only have one as far as I know. And then what we do is we're going to grab the first one. Sort of arbitrary, but that's what we're going to do. If we don't have one, by the way, we'll go ahead and create one and call it users/Earth Engine app as a precautionary measure. So then once we have one, we'll grab it, and then we're going to build up our path essentially. Once we have our path with our username, then what we'll do is we'll create the folder assets. Okay, notice the type is folder for first the root directory and then the user directory within there. And then we'll return this path that will be used in a later step. Let's also, while we're here, implement this helper method, getUserBoundaryPath. This uses the getDir method above and takes the user argument and returns the user directory, but then it appends to it the boundary directory where we'll put the boundary file. Okay, just in case there's other stuff in that user directory. And then we'll return that path. Okay, so let's go back up to our upload shapefile to GEE function. And at the bottom of this, we're going to now use those two helper functions to first get the boundary directory, which remember will end up calling into the thing that sets up the directories if they don't exist. So it's sort of a lazy load, you think of it that way. And then we'll use the batch export table to export our feature collection as a table asset, which is how you would store the equivalent of a shapefile on Google Earth Engine. Notice that we're using the batch API, and this creates a task, and we're going to call task.start. Okay, and we can monitor that in our code editor, which I'll show you. So let's go ahead and try this out now. I'll go back to the app and upload a new shapefile. I guess this is the same shapefile, but I'll upload again. And it submits correctly. And if we go here, what we should see, there it is. We have an upload to table asset task. And this is going to crank for however long it takes. And it depends on how busy the system is. If it's really busy, this can take quite a while. In my experience, it usually takes 30 or 40 seconds on average. So once it's done, then we can refresh over here. In fact, we should see the directories already. There they are. Okay, so it created the admin directory, which is my username, and the boundary directory. Oh, and this finished. Yeah, about 25 seconds. So refresh again. There's our boundary asset. Great. And it looks like the United States, so it worked. Hallelujah. There's one issue though with our current implementation. Let's try and upload another one. So I'll go select that same file and upload it. And then we'll go back to the code editor where we should see a new task pop up. But notice it has an error. And if we look at the message, it says cannot overwrite asset. So that's a problem, because we want them essentially to overwrite their boundary anytime they update it. They provide a new one. It's kind of like an update. So what we need to do is go and clear this out anytime we're doing this. So let's go back and we'll add that little bit of logic that will delete it if it exists. So we'll just put this back in this function, upload shapefile to GEE, right under where we're calling get user boundary path. And we'll paste that there. Okay, so what this is actually going to do is, I suppose it's an optimistic approach. We're going to assume there's a file there, which seems a little pessimistic. So yeah, we're just going to delete it. If it isn't there, it'll throw an exception, but we'll catch it just in case. We'll make sure that it's the right exception though, because there could be other exceptions that occur that aren't related to this. So if it says asset not found, then we'll log it and move on. Or rather, we'll log it if it doesn't say asset not found. So let's go try that again. Go back and upload. And we'll go here to the code editor, and let's see if our new task runs. See if it deletes this actually. Yep, it deleted it, so that folder's empty and the task is running.